It's incredible.
People all over the country and the world wants children and can't have children, want to care for a child. I think I may take the children away from both of you, both of them in foster care before it's over. You want to even ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. I'm not doing that today. You can't get along, you can't agree and everything, I think I may just place them in foster care. Neither one of you have it. That's what I may do, since you can't get along, provide for the children. Safety might well be better served if I had the cabinet place them in foster care, but neither one of you have access to terminate your parental rights. There's a lot to do before you do that. I've not made that decision. Can't get along, draconian remedies sometimes are called for.
Yeah, it's an Eighth Amendment violation. Exactly. Incredible. Anyway, the cabinet unlawfully seized those kids right then and there. This is Weird Change, Howard Nima.
Don't assume it was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
They're just giving money to their buddies.
You want to abolish the Federal Reserve? Of course. I don't think that private institutions should have control over a nation's currency.
We need a manufacturing base, and then our economy will take off like a rocket again.
A special televised meeting of the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations provides a window to the real story. The speaker, Vice President Dick Cheney, takes a question from David Rockefeller.
Vice President, I just enjoyed so much your whole speech, but I was particularly pleased that you gave such a strong endorsement for the free trade agreement for all the Americas, subject that has been of great concern to me for many years, and particularly recently, and I think it's absolutely essential for the strength of our economy.
We are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy to get people actually to love their servitude. People can be made to enjoy a state of affairs which, by any decent standard, they ought not to enjoy.
Perhaps you had better start from the beginning. Perhaps you had better start from the beginning. Perhaps you had better start from the beginning.
Too many kids are what's making the planet worse.
A lot of these kids come from bad gene pools. They don't have stable parents making good decisions.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics. These new studies suggest that the opposite, that the preservatives may actually be associated with improved behavior and mental performance.
Fluoride in water is supposed to fight tooth decay, but could it also cause cancer? Turns out the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions.
It was war with all its horror. So the Navy built a ship, Herbert J. Thomas, to withstand the ultimate horror.
Nuclear, biological, chemical warfare.
The destroyer was designed to withstand direct chemical and biological warfare attacks, with sealed revolving doors and sealed glass all over the open areas. The Navy secretly conducted chemical tests on the ship right off Point Loma to find out if the ship and its crew could take it.
We were tests.
The ship, in early 1966, underwent months of tests.
Over the 3-week period of each test, they tested every doggone thing you could possibly test on that ship.
Now, 35 years later, the truth is emerging about these tests from a cloud of secrecy.
We had no idea.
Mark Looney, a chief on the ship, remembers the tests all too well.
The tests themselves were a lot of smoke. The planes would let out like a smoke or gas type of thing, and it would also cover the ship.
The crew was given gas masks and told not to worry.
Government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. Some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted.
Any attempt to achieve world order must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
There's the need for a new world order. Someday, in the next few years, a solution will emerge.
We Are Change with host Howard Nima, exposing the collectivist global elite's Malthusian quest for a new world order. A one-world dictatorial government where all aspects of human life are under their control. Truth Talk Radio, where news the mainstream media ignores is the top story and your voice is heard. We are Fridays from We Are Change. Fridays from 1 to 3 p.m. and Saturdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by Howard Nima. Only on informedradio.com. That's NFORMD radio.com. Tune in, call in. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. We Are Change with Howard Nima. Every Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. and every Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on NFORMDradio.com. That's We Are Change with Howard Nima. Fridays, 1 to 3 p.m. and Saturdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on informedradio.com.
Yes, this is Howard Nima, and you are listening to We Are Change. Yeah, a lot of things obviously going on. That was an interesting little piece there. I thought it would be apropos, speaking about the biological and chemical effects. Now remember, the CIA had some tremendous scientists that they lifted from the Nazis, as well as working with others like Frank Olson with the weapons research. And he, of course, talked a little too much, I guess, about things, and he took a fall out of a hotel window at the Astor Hotel in New York City in 1953, and ultimately was his family was given $775,000 by Cheney and Rumsfeld, interestingly enough, during the administration of Gerald Ford in 1975, and gave them money. And then the son wrote a book, which is a great book. In fact, I was just looking at it. For those on the video end, it's right here. It's called Secrets and Lies, A History of CIA Torture and Bioweapon Experiments by Gordon Thomas. Excellent book. Highly recommend it. Read it twice. Great book. Now, speaking of the CIA, the U.S. is already attacking Iran through their terrorist proxies. The CIA admittingly is financing groups that are blamed for the bloody attacks, which are aimed at destabilizing Tehran. Tehran's contention that the U.S. Is carrying out terror strikes inside Iran in an effort to destabilize the Ahmadinejad region, or whatever, Ahmadinejad, I hate that word, Ahmadinejad, it's hard, I can't even pronounce it, excuse me folks. Anyway, in preparation for a military assault, was largely ignored by the establishment media, but it's an admitted fact that the CIA uses terrorist proxies to do precisely that. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. Iran has an irrefutable evidence that exposes the official involvement of the United States government in anti-Iran planning and the dispatching of elements to conduct acts of sabotage and terror in Iran and other regional countries. Yeah, that's what they do. They destabilize the Union, the region, and they provoke war. That's what they did in Libya. That's what they did in Egypt, in Syria. Now, this is their modus operandi. Now that word is killing me. Ahmadinejad. Nice name. Ahmadinejad region of Iran. Alright, because the story was recorded by Iranian state media, the Western press received it with a collective shrug of the shoulders, and the report claims that Iran was on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon, was afforded about 1,000 times more coverage by the controlled mainstream media. Oh, of course. However, the fact that the U.S. is training and bankrolling terrorist groups to destabilize Iran through violence and other acts of subversion is admitted, but not reported, of course. As former CIA veteran Robert Baer explained in the documentary Vanguard, America's Secret War with Iran, the U.S. has been at war with Iran through its terrorist proxies for years, notably the Kurdish militant nationalist group PJAK, which has been blamed for numerous attacks in Iran. As the London Telegraph, ABC News, and numerous other mainstream outlets reported back in 2007, the U.S. is also using the al-Qaeda-affiliated Sunni terrorist group Jundala to carry out suicide bombings and other destabilization in Iran, a policy which is crafted by the Bush administration and has been continued under Obama. Good work, Paul Joseph Watson. Excellent. Anyway, President Bush gave the CIA approval to launch covert black operations to achieve regime change in Iran, and that's been proven by intelligence sources that revealed that in an official document endorsing the CIA plans for propaganda and disinformation campaigns to intentionally destabilize and eventually topple the theocratic rule of the mullahs. And that was reported by the Telegraph. Okay. So things are happening, and nobody realizes that we're behind it. And then we have to save these. We have to stop these terrorists. There's all this terrorist activity, and we're the terrorists. Come on, everybody! It's false flag terrorism, like blown up. It's like multiplied. It's like a drum roll of terrorism. It's crazy. I can't even go on with this. But anyway, the CIA is up to their usual shenanigans that nobody pays attention to. Doesn't matter. They don't care. People have to really care. I'm hoping that you care. Because we are change, we care. And that's why I'm here every Friday and every Saturday from 1 to 3 on Fridays and 3 to 5 on Saturdays, Eastern Standard Time, to try to get through to the folks. Because I mean, what future do we have if we don't, get together and start waking other people up and letting them realize that this isn't a joke. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't happen completely in our lifetime. It will happen if people are asleep. I have a feeling that it's going to happen sooner rather than later, the full control grid. Because once they have it in place, there's no resisting this. It's like Katrina. People just gave their guns up. And they said, oh, this will be easy. They said, listen, they had the gun, they had all these better weapons than the other guys, and they said, please give us your guns, and these Americans gave them up. Now, personally, I think I would say this. Listen, here's the situation. You want to take away my, weapons that happened to, in this case, this family that was in Louisiana had an estate, and they had some heavy artillery, hey, all right? And they gave it to the authorities. They were forced to. They were going to be arrested. I don't know. I don't know if I could hack that. I would just be like, listen, guys, this is against the Constitution. You swore an oath to obey the Constitution, not your superior officers. It always ends up at the vast tyranny that they put us under, and we're under this spell collectively that don't notice it. Like the lady that had her gun taken away in Katrina. Katrina's years ago. Everyone forgets about Katrina. Everyone forgets about everything. Short attention span. That's why these commercials are 35 seconds, like I said earlier. It's incredible.
I think I may take the children away from both of you and put them in foster care before it's over. You want me to?
Yeah, it's an Eighth Amendment violation. Exactly. Incredible. Anyway, the cabinet unlawfully seized those kids right then and there. This is weird change, Howard Nima.
Don't assume it was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
That you gave such a strong endorsement for the free trade agreement for all the Americans, subject that has been of great concern to me for many years, and particularly recently, and I think it's absolutely essential for the strength of our economy.
We are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy to get people actually to love their servitude. People
Just giving money to their buddies.
You want to abolish the Federal Reserve? Of course, I don't think that private institutions should have control over a nation's currency.
We need a manufacturing base, and then our economy will take off like a rocket again.
A special televised meeting of the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations provides a window to the real story. The speaker, Vice President Dick Cheney, takes a question from David Rockefeller.
Vice President, I just enjoyed so much your whole speech, but I was particularly pleased.
You've asked me a question, I've given you an answer. I'm not doing that today. You can't get along, you can't agree, and everything. I think I may just place them in foster care. Neither one of you have it. That's what I may do, since you can't get along, provide for the children. Safety might well be better served if I had the cabinet place them in foster care, but neither one of you have access to terminate your parental rights. There's a lot to do before you do that. But I've not made that decision. Can't get along, draconian remedies sometimes are called for.